I'd like to know.
Nobody else had a question?
I'd like to know how the township's buying their fuel. Does it go out on bid, or just, you know, what are they doing to get the cheapest fuel they can possibly get?
Ma'am. It's actually, the state requires us to purchase on contract. So it goes out for bid, but it goes out for bid probably a year early. So unfortunately, as the price fluctuates, we don't always get the benefit, like the drop that we had at the end of this summer, early this fall. We don't get the full benefit of that drop in price. It's not like buying, like someone would buy a heating oil contract and say if it drops below this point, we're going to charge you that amount. So, you know, unfortunately, the state requires us to do that, and we are not able to just say we're only going to contract for 3 months, we're only going to contract for 4 months, we're, you know, or 6 months. We do have a fuel depot. We fuel up at that depot. We do not have gas cards out floating around, and those transactions are meticulously recorded to make sure that there is no problem with anyone using gas in a private vehicle. But it is purchased in bulk under state regulation by contract. Usually at sometimes we should be starting to put the bids out soon for the end of the year for next year.
Do you have anything to say, Maria?
No.
Yeah. Do you have anything to say as regards to the purchase of fuel? Do you have anything different to add? Or?
The only thing that I would add is just to put this in perspective. Last week at another debate, Mary Beth mentioned that the reason why spending increased in Neptune Township is because fuel increased, and the raised fuel costs added to the increased spending. And there's something wrong here when fuel prices are dropping, and that is the reason given by our governing body as to why we've seen such high spending increases. Something doesn't match.
Thank you. Okay.
Name and address?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Jerry Meyer, living 16 Roberts Drive. I understand that many of the union contracts are under negotiation at this very moment. Is there any pressure being asserted to have government employees, municipal employees, if you will, pay their health insurance and pension? That's the question.
You know, we can't, obviously, because we're in negotiations, we can't speak about specifics, but I can say, if I can drop some very large hints here, okay, that we are looking for our municipal employees to be treated regarding pension and health benefits as they would be treated in the private sector. And the reason that none of these contracts have been settled is because we have taken a very hardline approach to these contracts, and that clearly that has not been viewed favorably by the union. So we continue to, we're probably headed to arbitration at this point, but we have drawn a line in the sand, and we are not budging from it.
And I would just piggyback on that, being very general and knowing that we can't say too much about it. In the meetings that I've been at about this, the negotiations, there is a very hard line, and every effort is being made to protect the citizens as far as taxes in this township. And I'm glad they're taking a hard line, because these are hard times, and we need to look at that very strongly. And they have been, and we've encouraged that.
I am just a little bit amazed that think in your own lives, think of your family, your children, and those of us working in the private sector, we have been contributing to our health insurance for a long time, and I think it's about time that in Neptune Township we try to offset our property taxes by demanding the same by the employees who are working in Neptune Township.
I'm not going to stand here in front of you and profess that I have any idea what's going on with the current negotiations in the township. What I can tell you, however, is that in my organization, I negotiate 3 different Teamster union contracts within my group. I have one for the truck drivers, one for the warehousemen here in Central Jersey, one for the warehousemen up in the port. It's true in many cases that the unions push back and they don't want to have participatory health care plans and things of that nature. But what I would advocate, that when you're negotiating a contract, the term that they use is don't negotiate for the next hire coming in. You may have a problem or you may have difficulty in negotiating today. Do the best you can. But when you create the contract, create a next step, create a tier, so that the new hires coming in are not going to receive the same benefit package as the ones that are already existing. Create a second one. How can that be done in the public sector? I'm not sure. Okay? But we need to think about things like this. It's done in the private sector, I'll tell you that. And they ratify the agreements. Okay? So if we do a 2-tier, start bringing in people at a different level, whether it be pay scales, benefit packages, holidays, or what have you, you can start mitigating some of the cost increases that you experience. And again, not sure if it's relative in the public sector, but I would certainly want to look at that. Thank you.